Teaching neutral in any fighting game is hard, let alone melee. A lot can happen in a short amount of time, and it can be hard digesting it all into what your next move should be. My goal is to show you how you can simplify some of that information and how to form a rough game plan from it. I can't cover every possible factor in neutral, but the ones I'm about to talk about are what I think of as the most general and broad options to consider. There's a lot more you can dive into with neutral, but this is a fundamental, big picture view and is how I'd explain to someone learning for the first time. With that being said, I can move on to the first concept. Let's start with commitments. A commitment is essentially the risk-reward level when performing an action and can generally be categorized in one of two ways: a soft or a hard commitment. Hard commitments are actions that are immediately punishable and can typically be punished on reaction. They're actions that come with significant rewards when they work, but significant punishment when they don't. Soft commitments, on the other hand, are actions that are not immediately punishable. They're usually actions with little to no end lag and typically can't be punished unless predicted. It's important to note that actions by themselves are not hard or soft commitments. It's when and how you use them that determines the commitment level. While actions like smash attacks are almost always hard commitments, an action like Marth's short hop fair would be a soft commitment when spaced properly, but would be a fairly hard commitment up close to someone's shield. When you recognize someone's action as a hard commitment, pay attention to what leads up to it so you can bait it out and punish afterwards. When you recognize an action as a soft commitment, pay attention to what comes after. There are generally only a handful of options a character will do after a soft commitment action, and you can plan around punishing the secondary action instead of the initial one. The next concept is overshooting, undershooting, and whiff punishing. I'll explain each of them in case you aren't familiar. Overshooting is essentially pushing your attack further out than you normally would and is used to catch opponents running away. Undershooting is attacking where your opponent is about to approach from and is basically intended for your opponent to run into. Whiff punishing is the act of waiting for your opponent to throw out a move so you can punish them while they're stuck in lag. Pretty much just being patient and dash dancing. I think of these options similar to that of rock, paper, scissors. These three options generally work in the following way. Overshooting beats whiff punishing beats undershooting, and undershooting beats overshooting. If your opponent dash dances around your attacks, overshooting and pushing your attacks further will generally catch them dashing away. If your opponent is aggressively approaching you, undershooting with a large enough hitbox can usually either outspace the attack or catch them mid-dash before they get the move out. If you keep running into your opponent's hitboxes, you need to be a bit more patient and punish them after. An important note too is that you might pick the right option in this rock, paper, scissors, but still lose because you didn't do it well enough. For example, undershoots can lose to other undershoots if one is spaced better than the other. Undershoots can also lose to overshoots if you don't time it right to stuff your opponent. Dash dancing can lose to undershooting if you're not spacing correctly. And lastly, overshooting can lose to dash dancing if you don't push it far enough. I saved this for last because most new players won't commit to overshooting far enough and get dash back grabbed a lot. Remember to aim where your opponent is going to be and not where they currently are. Once you've determined which part of the overshoot, undershoot, and dash dancing cycle you need to be in, you actually play rock, paper, scissors one more time. This second RPS cycle is made up of shielding, grabbing, and hitboxes, and works like this. Shielding beats hitboxes, grab beats shielding, and hitboxes beat grab. This wheel is pretty self-explanatory, but I want to stress consciously mixing up these options and how it makes all of them stronger tools. I'll find players who overshoot to where I'm dash dancing, but only with hitboxes. If I know a Fox player will just attack with hitboxes over and over, I can pretty comfortably focus on just shielding. This is what makes tomahawking, or empty hop grabbing, such a strong option. If I think you're going to attack and you run at me with a grab instead, I have to consider the drawbacks of shielding a lot more now. Consciously mixing up means you'll force them to consider doing something else and play at least a little bit of a guessing game. Okay, so the three concepts we've gone over are hard and soft commitments, the overshoot, undershoot, and whiff punish RPS, and mixing up hitboxes, shielding, and grabbing. Here's an example of what these might look like in-game. Let's say a game just started and a Falcon and a Marth are both soft committing with dash dances and spaced aerials. Neither one is hard committing yet, but Marth notices the Falcon likes to nair in place and then dash back a lot. Marth simplifies this down to Falcon soft commits to an undershot attack and then retreats. Marth looks out for Captain Falcon's initial nair, then wave dashes forward and F smashes him afterwards, catching the dash back. Marth used dash dancing to avoid Falcon's undershoot, then made a correct read on Falcon's soft commitments to punish with an overshoot afterwards. The Captain Falcon hasn't completely lost though. The game continues, and we end up in the same situation as before. Falcon recognizes Marth's F-Smash as a hard commitment option and plans to bait the attack out. Captain Falcon, thinking back, recognizes that Marth dash dances to wait out Falcon's Nair before committing to F-Smashing Falcon's dash back. Falcon now knows when and where Marth's hard commitment is coming and just needs to use the appropriate mix-up. Falcon now throws out the same Nair he's done the whole match, only instead of dashing back, he opts to shield. Marth, still expecting dash back, wave dashes in, F-smashes Falcon's shield, and gets down throw kneed. Falcon recognized how to get Marth to hard commit and then mixed up his options to catch Marth off guard. Wrapping up, here's everything we've gone over. Try to recognize how hard of a commitment an action is. Look for what comes after a soft commitment and what leads up to a hard commitment. Overshoot if your opponent is dash dancing around you, undershoot if your opponent overshoots at you, and patiently whiff punish if your opponent keeps undershooting. Lastly, consciously mix up between attacking, grabbing, and shielding. Hopefully this video helps you understand the game a bit more easily. If you feel like I got something wrong or I should expand upon these concepts more, leave a comment. This is how I play the game, so correcting this video helps me correct my own play. New videos come out once a month, so subscribe and follow me on Twitter to stay updated. Until next time, thanks for watching.